Hello there, and welcome. Come closer to the warmth of the fire, for tonight we step into an ancient doorway, a passage not made of stone and wood, but of stories. Stories whispered across centuries, carried from Rome's earliest days, into the quiet turning of the year. Before we begin, allow me to introduce myself. I am Elena's grandfather. When she was a child, I filled her evenings with tales of forgotten deities, lost empires, and the quiet wisdom hidden in old things. And now, through this series, she has asked me to continue that tradition, to guide you into the pages of history, just as I once guided her. This painting you are about to see is her very first, a beginning filled with courage rather than perfection. As the videos go on, you will watch her grow, brushstroke by brushstroke, story by story, as she learns to bring these ancient myths to life. You have found your way to the magical corner of the world, belonging to Elena Aneris, a soul drawn to old myths and the meanings hidden inside them. She paints what others cannot see, and she listens to the old tales that most have forgotten. Tonight, she invites you and me to go on a journey with her into the story of Janus, the keeper of beginnings and endings, the guardian of thresholds, and perhaps, if the oldest myths are to be believed, not merely a god at all, but a king of flesh and blood, whose memory turned into legend. Settle in, for this is a tale best heard slowly, as the old year fades, and the new one has arrived. Long before Rome rose into power, before the marble temples, before the Senate, before even the stories of Jupiter and Mars, there are whispers of a man named Janus, not divine, not immortal, just a man, a wise and thoughtful king who ruled the land of Latium in a time so ancient that history and myth blur together like ink in water. Some say Janus came from the east. Others claim he emerged from a land beyond memory. But all agree that he ruled with gentleness and insight, a king who understood change, who saw the past clearly, and the future more clearly still. In these earliest tales, Janus was married to Camais, a queen as steady as the earth itself. Together they had a son, Tiberinus, whose name still flows through the Tiber River, that winds like a silver ribbon across Rome. So deep was Janus's wisdom, so fair was his rule, that when the people of Latium looked back upon his life, they declared, surely no mere mortal could have possessed such sight. And thus the king became a symbol, a memory turned myth, a myth turned god. One winter, when the earth was cold, and the hills were pale with frost, a weary traveller sought refuge in Janus's land. His name was Saturn, a dethroned god, wandering the world in sorrow. Janus, ever gracious, opened his doors to the stranger and offered him shelter, warmth, and friendship. In return, Saturn taught the people of Latium the secrets of agriculture, how to cultivate wheat, grow vines, and bring life back to soil that had forgotten how to grow. Under their combined wisdom, Latium blossomed into a paradise of peace and abundance. This era later became known as the Golden Age, a time when people lived without fear, without hunger, and in harmony with one another. Even the gods themselves rarely created such peace, and so Janus became forever linked with generosity, beginnings, knowledge, and the opening of one's door to what might become a blessing. But peace, even in myth, is a fragile thing. One day the Sabines, a neighboring people, rose in anger and marched toward Janus's land, seeking to seize his kingdom. Their armies approached the Janiculum hill, shields raised, spears gleaming in the early sun. Janus, untrained in war, stood before the invaders, with nothing but wisdom to guide him. And then, in the mythic version of the tale, something extraordinary happened. From the earth beneath his feet, burst forth a scalding torrent of boiling water, rushing like a furious river. The Sabines, startled and burned, retreated in terror, believing the land itself defended its king. Whether this event was divine, symbolic, or a storyteller's flourish lost to time, no one now can say. But the Romans remembered it well, and from that moment, Janus became not only the keeper of peace, but the protector who could turn back war. His temple doors would one day open in wartime and close in peace, echoing this ancient legend. The most famous image of Janus shows him with two faces, one old, lined by memory, one young, lit by possibility. Some say the faces represent the rising and setting sun. Others say they mark the seasons, the duality of life, or the ever-turning wheel of time. But the most beautiful interpretation is this: Janus sees what we forget to notice, that every ending hides a beginning, and every beginning whispers of the past. This is why the Romans loved him, why they placed him at the start of every ritual, why January bears his name. He was the moment between steps, the breath between thoughts, the stillness between the years. Across Rome, 5 sacred places honored Janus. Some were simple arches, others great temples, but all carried the same purpose: to mark the transition from one state to another. His most famous sanctuary was the Temple of Janus Geminus, whose great bronze doors signaled war or peace. When the doors stood open, Rome was at war. When they were closed, peace reigned. These doors opened and closed throughout Roman history, but only 3 times did they remain shut for long. Such was the rarity of peace. Janus was the first guardian Romans greeted, before any prayer or oath, for no god could be approached until Janus had opened the way. He was, quite literally, the hinge on which the world turned. Now, my dear friend, before we step deeper into the rituals of the new year, we must first understand why Janus, above all gods, was chosen as its guardian. For Janus was not simply the keeper of doors. He was the spirit of every threshold, every moment that stands between what has been and what is yet to come. Think of a doorway, a simple thing and yet a miracle. One step, just one, and you are in a different world. The Romans believed that such moments were sacred, fragile, powerful. A threshold could bless or curse. It could welcome or warn. It could open a life or close a chapter. And so they imagined Janus standing at every door, not as a guard with a spear, but as a gentle guide who whispered, "Before you pass through, look back once and look forward twice." This is the meaning of his 2 faces. Not fear, not judgment, but clarity. Some storytellers said that Janus's 2 faces were like the rising and setting sun, one marking the end of light, the other its returning flame. Others believed that he governed the cycle of seasons, the fading of autumn, the sleep of winter, the breath of spring, the ripening of summer. But most Romans understood him as time itself, the moving river that never flows backward, yet always carries memory within it. And so, when the old year fell silent and the new year stirred awake, the Romans turned to Janus, for who else could guide them from one stretch of time into the next? Janus was honored every morning, for every sunrise was considered a small beginning. His presence was invoked when a journey began, before a speech was spoken, when a couple married, as a child took its first steps, when doors of courts or temples opened, and when soldiers marched to war. No ritual, no oath, no prayer in Rome could begin without Janus. Not even Jupiter himself could be addressed until Janus had first opened the path. He was the door through which all actions entered the world. Now we arrive at one of the oldest rituals tied to Janus, the exchange of strainae, the New Year gifts of ancient Rome. On the first day of January, Romans offered one another figs, honey, dates, and laurel leaves. Each gift carried a wish for the year ahead, sweetness in the months to come, strength to endure challenges, prosperity and a good harvest, victory in work, health and personal battles. Honey promised gentleness, figs symbolized growth and fertility, laurel called in protection and triumph. The Romans believed, to begin with, sweetness is to invite sweetness to return. A simple idea, and one that still echoes today whenever we share treats, warm meals, or kind words at the start of a new year. Here, Janus stood not only as a guardian of doors, but as a reminder that the tone of a beginning can shape everything that follows. Because Janus ruled all thresholds, Romans believed the year must begin with the home's entrance purified. So they swept the threshold, washed the stones, sprinkled water mixed with salt or herbs, or hung evergreen branches to guard against misfortune. To clean the doorway was to release the shadows of the old year and welcome the new one with clarity. Even today, people instinctively tidy their homes before January arrives, an ancient instinct passed quietly through time. As night fell on January 1st, Romans lit lamps and filled the air with joyful noise. They believed light chased away fear, sound scattered stale or harmful energy. So they clapped and sang, played instruments, struck metal tools together, and lit fires beneath the winter sky. Sound familiar? Fireworks, cheers, bells, countdowns. Our modern world still echoes the rituals of Janus, even if we no longer speak his name. To the Romans, a new year was not about pressure or resolutions. It was about cleansing what had been, opening the heart gently, inviting peace and sweetness, marking the transition with intention. They understood something we often forget, that beginnings are sacred and deserve to be treated with softness, whether it is a new year, a new love, a new path, or a new version of oneself. The Romans believed that every doorway in life asks a silent question. Will you step through? A threshold is not merely a space. It is a decision. To begin, you must leave something behind. To move forward, you must let go of what is no longer needed. This is the secret of Janus. He is not the god of doors. He is the god of crossing them, of moments when our lives change shape, of moments when we choose to step from the familiar into the unknown. Beginnings are never easy, but they are always sacred. And this brings us, my dear friend, to the heart of why Janus became the symbol of the new year. The turning of the year is the greatest threshold of all. One year exhales its final breath, and another draws its first. We stand between them like travelers at a crossroads, one path leading into memory, the other into hope. The Romans cleaned their thresholds, lit their lamps, shared their sweet gifts, and spoke gentle words, not because they were naive, but because they understood that how you begin shapes how you continue. To begin with sweetness invites sweetness. To begin with peace invites peace. To begin with intention invites purpose. This is the wisdom of Janus, and it remains true now, as it was 2,000 years ago. Look around at how we celebrate the new year today. The fireworks, the shimmering lights, the cheers and noise, the cleaning of homes, the gathering with loved ones, the hope for a fresh start. We do not call it by its old name, but we keep the spirit of Janus alive. The lamps we light in our windows are the same lights that Romans believed would chase away the darkness. The noise we make at midnight carries the same intention as the clashing of Roman cymbals. a joyful invitation for blessings to enter. The resolutions we whisper mirror the quiet prayers Romans once offered at the door of his temple. Though centuries have passed, the human heart has not changed. We still crave renewal. We still seek protection for those we love. We still wish for sweetness in the year to come. And so, as this tale draws toward its end, let us return to the firelight and imagine Janus standing before us, one face knowing all we have survived, one face welcoming all that might yet be. He does not rush us. He does not judge. He simply holds open the door. For beginnings should never be forced. They should be stepped into gently, with courage, with tenderness, and with understanding of all that has shaped us thus far. You, dear listener, stand at such a doorway now, and as you paint, or watch this painting grow, or simply listen to the soft turning of time, know this: your past is not lost, your future is not fixed, and this moment between them is yours to shape. Before we move on, my dear friend, a moment of fireworks is about to follow. Mind your volume if your ears are sensitive. The new year has already begun. The world has taken its first quiet steps forward, and so have we. It feels good, doesn't it? To sit together for a moment and breathe in a fresh beginning. Look back with gratitude for every joy, every lesson, every scar shaped the hands you carry into this year. Look forward with hope, for there are blessings ahead that you cannot yet see. Walk gently across each threshold. Carry kindness with you, and let sweetness greet you in every new beginning. For the story of Janus is not only the tale of an ancient god, but a reminder to all of us how we grow, how we heal, how we change, and how we continue becoming who we are meant to be. Thank you for spending this time with my granddaughter, Elena and with me. It warms this old heart to share these stories with you. And to my Elena, keep going, my girl. Every brush stroke is a step forward. The viewers will see it, and so will you. May the days ahead be gentle, your steps steady, your heart open, and your new year filled with golden, peaceful light.